Hey guys, today I want to talk about mistakes people make with money that can have a massive impact on their future financial success and well-being. I spent most of my early adult life with a negative net worth without even realizing it because I was just going with the flow and expecting that as I earned more throughout my career, I would have more money. Spoiler alert, that's not how that went. Let's take a look at some of these common mistakes and mindsets that can be the difference between being filthy rich or being that broke guy that's trying to impress everyone but can't even afford avocado toast. If you think paying 10 bucks for a slice of bread and a little avocado is dumb like me, then make sure to leave a like down below. The first mistake I made was avoiding looking at my debt. This wasn't something that I was doing on purpose now that I think about it. I made all my payments on time for my car, motorcycle, my credit cards, and my rent. Looking at people around me that were missing payments reinforced the fact that I was doing well for myself, and I never took the time to add up all my debt and calculate my net worth. I did have an underlying sense of stress all the time, and I remember looking at my paycheck disappear right after I got it when all my bills started auto-paying. When I finally sat down and looked at my finances, I had a negative $50,000 net worth when I was making around $45,000 a year. Looking at that number made my stomach jump into my throat, and in that moment, I decided to do something about it. I made it my goal to get out of all that debt in 2 years and start investing in the stock market like my dad had been telling me to do for years. I had a lot of reasons to get out of debt, and you're going to need some too if that's the approach you want to make. Sacrifice always comes after being motivated, not the other way around. So sit down and find some real reasons for yourself. Maybe you don't want to feel that constant stress of living paycheck to paycheck, or you want to hit your investment goals so you can retire early. Maybe you're just fed up with getting a nice big fat overtime check just to watch 90% of it go to bills and not be able to buy anything you actually want. Whatever your reason, just make sure it gets you motivated, because this is hard. That's why not many people even look, much less do something about it. My second big mistake was not planning ahead. It always makes me laugh a little, but also a little sad when it's the holiday season and I hear people talking about not having enough spare funds to buy all the presents they want to. Christmas isn't a surprise. It's literally on the same day every year. If you saved the price of a Starbucks coffee every day leading up to Christmas, you would have $1,800 for gifts. Make a list of upcoming expenses that will happen and that you can plan ahead for so you aren't surprised when your car needs tires. This is separate for me from an emergency fund. Your car will need regular oil changes and maintenance. That's not an emergency. Your furnace going out in the middle of winter is something that you can't plan for. This is why most financial advisors will encourage you to have 3 to 6 months of expenses set aside in case something happens. I make sure my reoccurring expenses are covered without affecting my monthly budget, and I have 6 months of expenses set aside to cover anything unexpected that could happen to my family. Just by planning, the stress of the unknown is removed. Now you know how much you'll need for your wedding, how much for home improvement projects, and how much you need to save for retirement. Most of my stress came from the fear of the unknown or unexpected financial strain when things would pop up that I hadn't planned for. Removing that unknown variable by sitting down and planning for things gave my life an exponential amount of peace, and now that I have a plan, I can't go back to just floating around, getting smacked in the face by unexpected expenses, and then not being able to afford a McDouble until my next paycheck. If you're struggling to buy a McDouble at this moment, go ahead and use my referral link in the description below to Webull so that you can get some free stock, sell them, and then get a stomachache by eating too many McDoubles. The third thing I did was look at things in terms of monthly payments. This is exactly what the sales guy wants. It's funny how most people won't break down goals into smaller steps, but will sit at a dealership and get talked into a new car with a huge sticker price just because the monthly payment is manageable. That's just breaking a larger goal down into a smaller one, and they just did it for you. Most people look at everything in terms of payments, mostly since everything is marketed to us nowadays in the form of a monthly cost. When it's displayed like that, you may not realize what the actual cost is in the long run, or it just may help you justify the larger overall loan because you can afford it. Many of you may have had a similar experience at a car dealer as me, where you find a car, but then the sales guy hits you with the, well, this model over here has everything the one that you're looking at has, but it's got the turbo for the mountain trips, sunroof, heated seats, and a leather interior. Guess what? All of that's only gonna cost you $80 to $100 more per month. Sometimes it feels like everyone else has all the nice stuff, so why can't you? Well, most people also are broke, and it just doesn't look like it from the outside because they have all the nice stuff they're paying for. Just like everyone looks perfect on social media. They aren't, it's a lie. I started looking at things in terms of what I can afford, and what I mean by that is if I can't buy it without a loan, then I can't afford it. That would be why I drive a low mileage base model stick shift Kia with no window tinting. I paid cash for it, and now I don't have a payment on a depreciating asset. I've owned brand new top of the line Harleys with big payments, and guess what? It didn't give me lasting happiness. Sure, it gave me joy in the moment while I was riding it, but happiness is a different story. It wore off just like it does with any other new thing, but the big 7-year payment was still there when it was gone. This is the reality of keeping up with your broke friends. Moral of the story here is to think a little bit more before a purchase. Do you really need that top of the line thing, or are you gonna be fine with sacrificing and getting the lower end version that still does everything you need? I like to have almost no loans because I plan for the worst. If the economy takes an unexpected dive and I lose my job, the only loan I have is my mortgage. Loans are a form of risk, and as Warren Buffett always says, only when the tide goes out do we discover who's been swimming naked. If you're looking for a community to join where you can find more people who are either successful with money or working towards their own financial success, check out the link in the description to join our new app or join our Facebook group so you can start finding your own success. I hope you guys will think about some of these traps and try to avoid them, especially if you're in your 20s. The longer you make these mistakes, the longer it's gonna take for you to build long-term wealth and be able to retire early and just be financially at peace and successful. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you in the next one.